Hello, friends, my dear learners. Today I'm here with a topic from English grammar, and the title of the topic is Conditional Sentences. Conditional sentences, no doubt, it's a very popular topic, and questions from this topic are often asked in examinations, whether they are competitive examinations or they are academic examinations. So this video is going to be helpful for both the group of these students. So before I start, I request to subscribe and share this video as much as you can to spread the light of learning. So now without losing any more time, let's get started. Conditional sentences. So conditional sentences, two parts actually. There are two parts of conditional sentences. One is the situation or condition, we call it, or second is the result. Conditional sentences are always included in complex sentences. Okay, there are three type of sentences we have: simple sentence, compound sentence, and complex sentence. So conditional sentences are kept in the category of complex sentences. Subordinate clauses. If clause, that is subordinate clause, and result clause, that is main clause or principal clause. So the part of the sentence which begins with if, the conjunction if, okay, this is called subordinate clause. And the part which contains result, that is called main clause or principal clause. Normally there are three conditions, okay. Sometimes we also call them four conditions. One is called zero condition, but traditionally we often consider three conditions. First condition is called probable condition, open condition, or factual condition. These are the three names. Now, what is the structure of this condition? If clause, present indefinite tense is used, and the main clause, that is the result clause, future indefinite tense is used. So this is the structure or the division of the tense of the verb that we are expected or we are supposed to use in both the parts. If clause takes present indefinite tense and main clause takes future indefinite tense. Now we look at some examples. If you work hard, you will score good marks. Now see, there is a if, the sentence begins with if. Work hard, this is a present indefinite, okay, work hard. And then the result, this is showing the result, this part is showing the result. And this is used in future indefinite, okay, future indefinite will self plus base form of the verb. This is a traditional structure which we often find, but sometimes some variations are also made. And these variations actually make it a bit confusing. So you should not get confused because I tell you how the variations are used. If you heat butter, it melts or it will melt. Now, one way we can use both the parts with present indefinite, heat and melts. Or we can also use it like it will melt, that is future indefinite, like traditional structure. Why do we use same tense in both the part? Because of the simultaneous action. Simultaneous action means two actions at the same time. Okay, when two actions happens at the same time, there is no time gap between them. Then we are expected to use the same tense in both the parts. Okay, similarly, if you mix blue and yellow, you get green. This is incoherent process. Universal truth, fact, present definite. So here again, according to this sentence, we also use here same tense in both the parts because this is also that we cannot change the result. Okay, the result is unchangeable because if you mix these two colors, blue and yellow, you will always get green. So this is unchangeable, and that's why in this case we are expected to use same tense in both the parts. Now, friends, in competitive examinations, such questions are asked. We often get confused because we are we are trained to use present definite and future indefinite all the time. Okay, but this is not universal. Sometimes such variations can also be used, and then we should be careful before using verb in the sentence. Now the second variation, if clause should plus be first and main clause imperative or simple sentence, simple future. That means if clause if is removed here and in place of if what we use, we should, we use should. A sentence begins with should. And the second part begins with main verb or don't. Why? Because it is imperative. But sometimes we can also use simple future, that is future indefinite. Now, for example, you can have such kind of sentence. Should anything happen, telephone the police. Okay, either this or I shall telephone the police. Both are correct. And if we write this sentence in traditional version, then what do we get? If anything happens, I shall telephone the police. Right? So this is the second variations. Now we come to the third variation. Sometimes we also say it again and I shall beat you. Okay, say it again and I shall beat you. Again, the same feeling, condition, and the result. But this way, we are using the conjunction and. Okay, so starting with imperative, then conjunction and then the simple future. Here, this sentence takes the form of compound sentence. So instead of calling it complex, we should call it compound sentence. If, but now we can change it in our traditional mode by using if. If you say it again, I shall beat you. So this is the third variation of the conditional sentences. Now we move to the second condition, and this is called hypothetical condition, imaginary condition, or unreal condition. Okay, these are the titles and the name we use for this condition. Now, let us move to the tense and the verb patterns which we are expected to use in this condition. If clause, that is, the sentence which begins with if, take past indefinite. Or sometimes it takes verb with all the subjects, whether the subject is singular or plural. Why? This is used in the case of imaginary sentence. And the main clause takes would, should, might, must, and could, and base form of the verb. These are the modal verbs, and they can be used according to the condition, situation that is given in the sentence. But mostly we use would in this condition. Here the time is future, but the tense is past. Now we take some examples for a better understanding. If she ran fast, she could win the race. Now see, if clause taking past indefinite, and the main clause is taking could plus be first. If she were a bird, okay, bird, here actually in bracket you will be given like be verb. Okay, so be verb, second form of the be verb is was or were, but here is a condition whether the subject is singular or plural, it always takes were. She would fly in the sky. This is the imaginary sentence. This is imaginary sentence. Okay, so imaginary sentence takes were. Now we can make a variation by removing this if and placing were in the beginning of the sentence. Were she a bird, she would fly in the sky. This is also correct. If I had a car, I would go on a long drive. Okay, had actually here in bracket you will be given have. So second form of have is had. So in this way, the second condition is used. In second condition, the one thing you should keep in your mind is the use of were. Okay? Don't get confused whether you are given singular or plural subject, you should use were. Now the third condition, that is called unfulfilled condition or called impossible condition or called rejected condition. Okay, these are the titles and name we give to this condition. Unfulfilled condition. Unfulfilled condition in the sense that it remains unfulfilled if clause had plus past participle, that is past perfect tense. Main clause would, should, could, might, like the second condition, but we change them into perfect form, that is have plus vehicle. So this is the third condition. We call it unfulfilled condition. Now we take some example. If I had visited my parents, I would have become very happy. Now see, past perfect tense and here would have plus become. Now when we talk about the variation in this condition, then what we can do, if can be removed, if can be removed, and had is placed. Okay, had is placed in the beginning. That is the variation. Now, for example, had she sung a song, she would have become popular. She would have become popular. Okay, like this. So here, this had is functioning as if as well as helping verb. Okay, so this way the variation can be used in this condition. There is some more variations, but for your help, like this. But for your help, it would not have been possible. It would not have been possible for me to complete this work. To complete this work. Okay, and here, but for. That is, but for your health. Okay. If we write it in traditional way, then how can we say? We can say if you had not helped me, if you had not helped me, and then the rest, the second part. Okay. So this is the variation. In place of this, you can use only but for your help. Okay. But for your help. So this way you can make a sentence. But one thing you should be careful that here this is called simple sentence. Okay. Simple sentence. And this is called complex sentence. Complex sentence. These are the nuances. ये छोटी छोटी बारीकियां हैं जो आपको ध्यान रखना है. Suppose you are given this sentence, okay, and asked what type of sentence is this, then it should be simple. Why simple? Because there is only one word, one finite word, okay, one finite word. That's why it is simple. But here we have two finite words. One is had here, and second is would have, would not have, and that's why it is complex sentence. So these are slight variations. By using them, we can make the sentence more expressive and effective and impressive. So thank you for this, for your attention. Okay, and watch it till the end and share it with your friends to spread the light of learning. And we see you again with next.